Hello everyone. In this video we are going to review a lot of different topics that were on the Algebra Regents before in the last couple of years, and here is number one. There are 128 participants in a tournament. After each round X, 50% of the players are eliminated. So after the first round, then half of the 128, which is 64, and then after the second round, you could figure it out, it's 32 left. Which function would best model the situation? So this is a decay. So decay is 1 minus. So we're just talking about y equals. We're going to put the 128 in the front, and it's 1 minus the 0. The 50% as a decimal is 0.5. And then we're going to put x because that's the number of rounds. So if you just take a look at this right here, do 1 minus the 0.5, that is 0.5 to the x power. So it's not 50. That's out, and this is 50, that's out. This is 0.5, looks good. That is your answer, and 4 is out because it's 0.5x. Doesn't make any sense at all. And if you do put this into the calculator like I did, we're going to talk about y equals, and we get 128 and then parentheses 0.5x, and you go to the table for that one. That's choice number 2. After the first round, you see how there's 64. After the second round, there's 32 left. After the third round, there's 16. So there's half of the participants in each round left. As the round goes on, that one works out. Number 2 is your answer. When solving this equation right here, Luke wrote this. So what happened from this to this? So what Luke did is distributive property, right? That's all he did. And then 2 times x squared and 2 times 4, that's distributive property of multiplication over addition. 4 is your answer. What is the axis of symmetry for the graph shown? So we don't have any numbers here, but the axis of symmetry does have a formula on the reference sheet. And the reference sheet right here is right here. The equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a. So if you did have a quadratic that was given, you would definitely use this formula if need be, without a graph. But now they give you a graph and nothing else. So just remember, the axis of symmetry is where you could draw a line directly through the middle of this parabola where it could fold on evenly on each side. So I am going to draw that line down right here. And that is my axis of symmetry line. And you could tell right here, it's 1, 2, 3. So this is x equals 3. That's what this line is, x equals 3. And it's equal to 3 no matter where you put a point. The x is equal to 3. This is 3, 0. This is 3, 2, 3, 4. This is 3, 4. Anywhere you go, this is 3, 2. So you know that x equals 3. It is never the y. So x equals 3, and that's it. Determine the product of square root of 6 and 2 square root of 3. So first off, we're seeing product there. That's multiplication. And they want it in simplest radical form. So remember, this is multiplication. multiply. So we're going to do square root of 6 times 2 square root of 3. Now, it's not like addition and subtraction where the number underneath the radical has to be the same. You are multiplying the outside numbers by the outside number by the outside number, and the inside number by the inside number. So it's 1 times 2, that's first off. So 1 times 2 equals 2. And then radical 6 times radical 3 is radical 18. So 1 times 2 is 2, and then we get radical 18. It says simplest radical form. So that means that square root of 18 has to break up into a perfect square and a non-perfect square. So this is 2. We're going to have a square root, perfect square root, and a non-perfect square root. And we're going to break this up into 2 numbers that multiply together that equal 18. So if I start with 18, that's 1 times 18. There's no perfect square there. 2 times 9, yes, 2 times 9. 9 is a perfect square. It's the largest perfect square. So 9 times 2 is 18. So now we have 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. So it's 2 times 3, square root of 2. And then we finally have 2 times 3, which is 6, square root of 2. And that is simplest radical form. You are finished. That is your answer. So here we go with the equation of a line that passes through these points right here. You could do this any way that you want. All right. So you could put this into the calculator. Or you could figure out the slope and then use the point slope formula. Or the y equals mx plus b to figure out the y-intercept. I would just use the calculator. So I'm going to bring the calculator up. I'm going to move my face over there. All right. That's not what I want to do. All right. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing here. This is now, I'm going to graph, I'm going to put this in negative 2x. I'm skipping negative a half because it's just a couple more buttons to press, and I just don't want to. All right. So we're going to take a look at what we have here as a table. So I'm looking for 6, 2, and I see 6, 14. Do you see 6, negative 2? I see 6, 14, and that means this one is out. Now I'm going to go to 2x plus 6, choice 4. And I'm going to go to the table again. And I'm going to look for 6, negative 2, 6, 18. That is not it. Gone. All right. Let me do this one. So I'm going to get a half x plus 3. So alpha x, a half x plus 3, and then go to the table, look for 6, 6, negative 2, 6, 6, nope. So let's choose that last one. You know that has to be the answer, but let's do it anyway. So we have alpha x, negative 1 over 2. That's the one I probably should have put in first, but I didn't. And let's see if these points work out. So here's 6, negative 2. 6, negative 2 is right there. And then I'm going to go up to negative 2, and hopefully we see 2, and we do. Those points are on that equation. 1 is your answer. Domain is a list of all x values of a graph. So this one stops right there. So this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. and then it goes to infinity. So -6, so x is greater than or equal to -6. Or you could write it like this. It's bracket, in interval notation, -6 and positive infinity parenthesis. All right, but they didn't. They put it in as an inequality. Solve the following system of equations for all values of x and y. Do not make mistakes here. All values. They're both equal to y. They're both equal to each other. So I'm going to set this up as x squared plus 4x minus 3 equals 2x plus 5. They're both equal to y. They're both equal to each other. Now, at the same time, I'm just going to subtract -2x minus 2x, and I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Yeah. And I'm going to cancel out this right here and cancel out this. And we have x squared plus 2x minus 8 all equal to 0. So now trinomials usually factor into two binomials. So it's x times x. So now we have 8. So we have to you have to figure out factors of 8 that multiply to 8 and that you can add or subtract to get to 2. 4 and 2, that works. So I'm just going to put 4 first and 2. To multiply to a negative, one has to be positive, the other has to be negative. But to add to a positive 2 or subtract to a positive 2, it would have to be 4 minus 2. And that is what it works out. 4 times -2 is -8. 4 minus 2 is 2. So now we have x plus 4, and you set it equal to 0, and you set the other binomial equal to 0 as well. You subtract 4 on both sides. And you will get x equals -4 or plus 2 plus 2. And we are going to get x equals 2. But you're not finished. You have to find the values of y. And the easiest way to do that is to use y equals 2x plus 5. So we have y equals 2 times -4 plus 5, which is y equals -8 plus 5 is -3. And then we have y equals 2x plus 5 again. And we are going to substitute the 2 in. So that's 4 plus 5, which is y equals 9. So what we have is -4 comma -3. And 2 comma 9. Just remember, they want both values. They want values of x and values of y. So if you just give them values of x, then that's where you get a couple of points off. Just remember, when you factor out, you want to get this to a trinomial. Once it's in a trinomial form, that's why you're making it equal to 0. You could factor it, you could try to factor it into two binomials, just like I did here. Then use the zero product property to set each binomial to equal to 0 and solve. Then you substitute back in to get each y Just be careful. Write the x that you're substituting in first, and then the y that comes out as the input, as the output. All right, and that is it. Short video. Good thing. All right, and thank you for watching. Hopefully that helped. See you next time. Bye, everybody.